What would you do if a little boy walked up to a complete stranger, held his hand, and whispered, "Please marry my mum. I want a superhero like you"? Everyone nearby laughed, thinking it was just an innocent child's imagination. But seconds later, the stranger looked at the boy's mother and completely froze, because he recognized her. She was the woman whose life had been shattered years ago because of a decision he made. What happened next left an entire restaurant speechless. Before we continue, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and if stories that touch the heart inspire you, don't forget to subscribe. The little boy's name was Noah, a cheerful 6-year-old whose smile hid a loneliness no child should ever feel. His mother, Emma, had spent years doing everything she could to give him a good life. She worked long hours cleaning offices during the day and serving tables at a neighborhood cafe in the evenings. Every night she returned home exhausted, yet she still found the strength to read Noah a bedtime story before falling asleep beside him on the couch. Noah never complained about what they didn't have. He only wished for one thing. Every afternoon after school, he watched fathers picking up their children. Some lifted them onto their shoulders. Others laughed as they played catch in the parking lot. Noah would quietly hold his mother's hand a little tighter, pretending he wasn't wondering what it felt like to have someone call him champ. One afternoon, his teacher asked the class what they thought a superhero was. Some children said superheroes could fly. Others talked about incredible strength. The teacher smiled and said, "A real superhero is someone who protects the people they love, even when life gets difficult." Those words stayed in Noah's heart. He decided his mother deserved a superhero. A few days later, Emma received her paycheck, but after paying rent and utilities, there was barely enough left for groceries. Wanting to lift Noah's spirits, she used the little money she had to take him to a small family restaurant. They shared one meal and laughed together as if nothing in the world could ever bring them down. Across the room sat Daniel Carter, a successful businessman known for his generosity, but also for keeping to himself. While waiting for a business associate who never arrived, he couldn't help noticing Emma cutting her own portion in half so Noah could eat more. She smiled every time Noah looked at her, hiding the worry that filled her heart. Quietly, Daniel called the waitress over and paid for their dinner without introducing himself. He simply asked her not to mention his name. When Emma learned that someone had covered the bill, she looked around the restaurant, confused. Before she could thank whoever had done it, Daniel was already walking toward the exit. Noah hurried after him. "Excuse me, mister." Daniel turned with a warm smile. "Yes?" Noah looked up at him with complete sincerity and held his hand. "Please marry my mum. You'll be my superhero." The restaurant fell silent. Some people chuckled softly, believing it was an adorable misunderstanding. Emma rushed over, her face turning bright red. "Noah, I'm so sorry." He doesn't know what he's saying. But Daniel wasn't laughing anymore. The moment he looked into Emma's eyes, memories he had buried years earlier came rushing back. "Emma?" he whispered. She stared at him in disbelief. "You know my name?" Daniel nodded slowly. Years ago, before becoming CEO of his family's company, Daniel had approved a restructuring plan to save the business during a financial crisis. Several factories were shut down almost overnight. Thousands lost their jobs. At the time, the reports were just numbers on paper. Emma's husband had been one of those workers. Unable to find steady employment, the constant stress took a heavy toll on his health. By the time he was diagnosed with a serious illness, treatment was already beyond what they could afford. Emma sold almost everything they owned, but despite her efforts, her husband passed away, leaving her to raise Noah alone. Daniel had never known the human cost behind the paperwork he had signed. Standing in front of Emma, after all these years, guilt washed over him. "I'm so sorry," he said quietly. "I spent years believing I made the right business decision, but I never stopped to think about the families behind those reports. I can't change what happened, but I wish I could." Emma looked at him for a long moment. "There was a time I blamed everyone connected to that company," she admitted. "But life taught me that carrying anger only made the burden heavier. My husband always believed good people could learn from their mistakes." Daniel lowered his head, humbled by her grace. Over the next few weeks, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about Emma and Noah. Instead of offering charity, he reviewed Emma's work history and discovered she had once managed inventory and finances for a local business before putting her dreams aside to survive. He invited her to interview for an operations manager position at one of his community outreach centers. Emma was hesitant, worried people would think she was receiving special treatment. Daniel smiled. "You earned this opportunity long before we met again. I simply failed to see it." After several interviews conducted by an independent hiring team, Emma got the job on her own merit. For the first time in years, she no longer had to work two exhausting jobs. She could eat dinner with Noah every evening, help him with homework, and even attend his school events. Daniel also became a regular volunteer at the community center, mentoring children and supporting struggling families. He wanted his actions to speak louder than his apology. One afternoon, months later, Noah watched Daniel helping children build toy airplanes at a community event. He ran over with the biggest smile. "I told Mom you were a superhero." Daniel laughed. "Why's that?" "Because superheroes don't just save people once. They keep showing up." Daniel knelt beside him. "Noah, do you know who the biggest superhero in your life really is?" Noah looked puzzled. Daniel pointed toward Emma, who was laughing with several children nearby. "Your mom, she never gave up on you, even when life gave her every reason to quit." Noah nodded proudly before running over to hug Emma. Daniel watched them from a distance, realizing that true success wasn't measured by wealth or titles, but by the lives you chose to lift. As time passed, Daniel and Emma developed a deep friendship built on trust, respect, and honesty. Whether that friendship eventually became something more didn't matter nearly as much as the peace they had both found. Noah finally had someone he admired. Emma regained hope for the future, and Daniel discovered that redemption begins when responsibility is followed by action. Sometimes the greatest superheroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they simply choose kindness when they have every opportunity to walk away. Now we'd love to hear from you. If you were Daniel, what would you have done after discovering the truth about Emma and Noah? Changed all three of their lives forever? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And if this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories that remind us compassion can change a life.